here's how I see a lot of shoulder injuries, especially with the baby boomers. A lot of the shoulder injuries with the baby boomers are because they get outside of their normal realm of activity. So this bicep tendon that's out of place right now, it's an individual who's in his late 60s. He used to do a lot of Ironman type races, so he has this incredible constitution. And in fact, he has one of those constitutions that can do that type of endurance, and it doesn't really affect his breakdown. So it's not that he's the right person, or it's not that he's doing the wrong thing. He's very smart about how he pursued it, but he's gotten to a point where he's no longer can put that kind of energy into all the training and all that. So being a type A personality, of course, he's decided he'll just take up, go join the rowing club, right? Not like, hey, let's go row today. And, you know, I'm clear on this, and I was clear with him that it's a great risk when you take a joint and you put it into an environment that it's never been in. Now, a normal person may be able to get away with it because they're going to do a few rows and they're already worn out. But he has the ability to really hurt himself, which he did. And I've seen it time and again. Somebody, they decide, well, now it's time, you know, I'm 65 and I have to get a personal trainer. I can't have any, you know, I can't have anything here. So, personal trainer, 65, 1 hour of lifting weights, there goes the shoulder joint. What have we found in asanas that tend to be the high risk for the shoulder joint? And, yeah. What happens when you take a runner and you put him in down dog? Why do runners have so much shoulder issues from down dog? Yeah, you know, runners get very tight in their upper bodies, which is nothing compared to how tight they get in their hips. So if you can't move your hips, what's going to support your weight in down dog? Because they can't transfer any of the weight into their legs. And you know, this is the truth. I mean, this woman who had never been in a yoga class went with her friend, you know, mid-60s, and of course she's a runner and she's tough and marathon, so she's going to grunt it out. 2 shoulder surgeries from one class. Yeah, I mean, 2. It's a bad match. It's a wrong mentality. Now, can downward dog be useful for the runner? Well, of course. But not when 100% of the weight is distributed on their shoulder joint, which is so tight because running gets that tight thoracic area. We really have to be careful with the boomers and how they're pursuing their health and wellness. Okay? All the good intentions at the wrong time. At 25, sure, join the rowing club. Oftentimes when I'm talking to an individual who's trying to come to terms with this, you know, my example is, what would you say to me if I wanted to start taking up gymnastics? Does anybody here recommend gymnastics for me? There's no way. What is like gymnastics? Well, it's something that's a large deviation from what we normally do. You may not realize it, but downward dog and chaturanga are an enormous deviation from what people normally do. You know, the boomers are better off developing upper body strength by doing some non-aggressive lifting than they are by doing push-ups or pull-ups. Most individuals post-50 get shoulder problems from doing the unsupported or doing body-supported strength training. Now, body-supported strength training can be great. You know, all the pull-ups, then behind the head pull-ups, and then doing all the push-ups. But not when you're past that 50 point. And especially if it isn't something you've been doing. There's a better way to develop your strength in your upper body than creating a risk of injury in a joint that we've already said when this joint gets injured, it doesn't behave well, ever. We get lucky sometimes, but not often. You know, if one day of downward dog can bust 2 shoulders, wow. That's the vulnerability of this joint, and especially as we get to the 50 and then plus. And the vulnerability starts with the lack of mobility, the decreased range of motion. And that's where the yoga practice comes in, hopefully at a younger age, so that we mitigate the range of motion issue right off the bat. If you get someone in their 20s and you have them doing asana practice for a few years, they should have really nice range of motion in their shoulder joint, and that can prevent a lot of what's to come. But once you have lack of range of motion and then you start pursuing health and wellness through strength training, it's a bad recipe.